Could it be that we've come to a sci-fi allegory? Is it T'Pol in the spotlight of this familiar story? Regardless, she is firm, defiant, and stout. So what is it that this episode is really all about? I'm Josh.
I'm Justin.
And this is From There to Here.
And today we'll be walking the streets of Philadelphia.
La 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 la. Okay, no, seriously, this episode is...
Come on, this is really serious.
Season 2, episode 14. It's called Stigma. And according to the IMDb, this is what it's about. T'Pol is diagnosed with a possible fatal neurological disease as a result of a mind meld. Meanwhile, one of Phlox's wives visits Enterprise and becomes very interested in Trip. And on the IMDb, this is rated, care to harbor a guess? I don't know yet. What do you think?
8.3.
You're going to think that high, huh?
I don't know.
I'm going to say upper 7s, 7.9.
Okay.
Ooh, 7.4.
Oh, okay.
You're way off there. Okay, so what do you have?
In late 2002, Viacom, the owner of the UPN network on which Enterprise was aired, mandated that all fictional programs on its schedule would, sometime during the 2002-2003 season, produce a special episode addressing the AIDS-HIV pandemic.
Okay.
I was not aware
I was not aware of this either.
And there was, back in the day in TNG's era, there was a failed attempt to write a similar story titled Blood and Fire, but it never got made.
In which one?
TNG.
Oh, TNG.
They tried to tackle...
They did do a very special episode. The Outcast.
Yeah, but that wasn't it. That there was something more specific, apparently.
Okay. Did they really consider it? Did you use the phrase very special episode?
Did I use the phrase?
Yes. Is that what it said in there?
To produce a special episode, not a very special episode.
Yeah, you know that phrase.
Yes.
Okay, it refers... Well, to anyone who doesn't know, it refers to a particular breed of episodes, particularly in the 1980s, I would think, during sitcoms and, like, Growing Pains.
Today's episode is a very special episode where
different
Balky
strokes
learns about molestation.
Well, no, there was one where it was different strokes where there was a... No, I'm not going to,
Well, I know. It's the one where Kimberly got kidnapped.
That's Different Strokes?
Yeah. And Mr. Drummond went with the police. And Mr. Drummond, he got all serious.
Like Punky Brewster with
the refrigerator
episode. Everyone remembers the refrigerator episode.
That was a big deal. That was a whole episode built around the more you know moment.
Kids were getting, stuck in their refrigerators
and dying.
And dying. Yeah, I didn't know that.
So they put poor Cherry in there and she almost died.
Cherry. Yeah, that's right. I remember Cherry.
Come on, I remember.
It's been a while.
Maybe the world is blind. Or just a little unkind. Oh, no. Come on, man. I'm a kid of the 80s.
Okay. So this episode, back to this one. We were riffing on it a little bit. You said right off at the top, though. Okay, let me backtrack. It is good. I do like it. We were having a little fun with it at the top. But as you mentioned during the trivia portion that you just read, it's an AIDS, HIV allegory. So I was like, okay, I didn't think that was going to be there. I thought we were going to talk a little bit about the plot first before we go in there. But why bury the lead here?
Let's just tackle that. That's what it's about.
That's exactly what this episode is. It really doesn't try to disguise it. It's very open about it.
Yeah.
Very much so. That's something we talked about. We used the phrase "on the nose."
I got to tell you, man, I didn't really enjoy this.
Okay.
I felt it was way too on the nose, way too preachy, and this show, TNG did this too. Voyager did, all of Star Trek has done this, but maybe they're just a little better at camouflaging what it is they're trying to talk about. But this episode was so on the nose that I found it annoying because...
Well, Let That Be Your Last Battlefield is still decent, and it's pretty clear what that is.
Yeah, but something about this I found very off-putting. I thought...
Unpack that.
I'm trying.
Okay.
T'Pol... Okay. I like Jolene Blaylock. But
I think we've
I do not like when she tries to play subdued and she's trying to act like she's holding something in. I just feel like she's
does that a lot,
constipated. Like the teaser of the episode, she comes out from behind the curtain in sick bay.
Just kind of stepped out from behind the curtain.
and she's just, I don't like it. I don't like her performance when she does that. And
she looks constipated in that moment
she
too?
just, when she's irritated with something or doesn't want to let it out, doesn't want to say it, and he keeps saying, come on, tell him, everybody will know, it'll be fine. And I don't want to. And I'm just like, okay, you're trying too hard to be Vulcan right now, and it's not working for me. So I don't like that. I don't like when she does that. And she does that a number of times throughout the episode. Because it's so head on with what it is. Okay, we were singing Philadelphia at the top of this.
Yes.
Because this episode is Philadelphia.
Well, yeah.
And
should we explain what that is?
Sure.
In case people
there
don't
might
know?
be some people that genuinely don't know.
So I think it was 1993, 1994. Tom Hanks and Denzel Washington and Mary Steenburgen, lots of people, lots of
Big
great
deal.
actors. Big deal back in those days. They made a movie about someone who had AIDS.
And he was
a lawyer. He was in a big law firm.
And he was fired because they knew he was gay. And
right. They saw the lesions on his head, and they figured he had AIDS, and they were very homophobic, so they fired him.
Right. So this was all about a legal case to free him of that.
And it's a huge bummer, so don't watch it if you want to be in a good mood.
It's not a happy ending.
But it was big deal. It swept the Oscars that year. It was all over the place for a while, but it's kind of been buried by time, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. So with that movie, there's two things happening. It's all about Tom Hanks's experience and all of that, but it's also about Denzel, and I wouldn't say he's homophobic, but he was definitely judgmental, let's say.
No, he was.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He definitely was.
I mean, not so much that he wouldn't take the case, but...
He didn't want to take it.
But he did, ultimately.
He very reluctantly at first. He really did not want to.
Right. Well...
I can't remember what exactly
he,
it was
like
that
a
pushed
lot
him
of
over the
people
edge.
that get encountered in the movie, they have to have their preconceived notions challenged. And there's growth to be had. Mm-hmm. This episode, they're strictly bad guys. And it's way too two-dimensional. And also, while I can understand the logic of making Vulcans be prejudiced against something that goes against what they want, it's very un-Vulcan in a way. And yes, these are earlier Vulcans than what we're used to in, TOS Forward. And they're stealing. Obviously, these Vulcans do have prejudice. They're prejudiced against humans and all of that. But
well, did you just explain it away by calling them earlier, kind of less matured Vulcans?
They're not so far removed. And it's, I don't know. It just, to me, it's just so obvious. It's not even. It's just too much. It's too much. I didn't like how on the nose it was. Archer again. God, I love Scott Bakula, but man, I don't know why when he plays Archer angry or something like that, it's always like he wants to go to 11, but he only goes to 7, but he thinks he's doing 11. So it's not like when he goes to the doctor's office and he's banging on the glass, and I'm just something. He's holding back, or they're holding him back. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, we talked about this last week, I think, where it feels like he's muffled a little bit.
Yeah.
Not like in Quantum Leap, where they would let him go.
And frankly, I found the stuff with Phlox and his wife and Trip to be way more interesting. And so whenever they cut away from them, I just want to go back.
Well, it's good that you bring up the B story, because I'd forgotten about it for a moment. But that B story, I think, is quite relevant in that it gives us a nice juxtaposition between this society that's shunning right this woman, and then this other society. It's this cultural exchange, where it's completely reversed. You have this woman who's very open and wants, and it's about this kind of accept or not accept, but it's in a different vein. Like Trip is very overwhelmed by it, but he's pleased, but he's confused by it. But he's not exactly rejecting her either. He's trying to be pleasant about it, but he's confused.
Yeah.
So it does help to draw a bit of a parallel between the stories, so where they can complement each other.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. You have one culture that's completely closed off and won't help, won't listen. And then you have another one where it's almost a comedy of errors because of the different cultural beliefs. But
he's not shunning her because I can't.
No, he's not.
How dare you?
No, that's why they're able to play the comedy because he's just mortified. He doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I just.
Well, I did say I liked it, and I'm going to stick with that. I do enjoy it, even though I agree with you. Yes, it is very on the nose, and I think pretty much anyone who watches that realizes it. Basically, all you'd have to do is take the word minority, which they use a lot, which they're doing to refer to this group of Vulcans that mind melds.
Right.
And they will constantly say oh, I'm not a member of the minority. Basically, all you'd have to do is replace that word with gay.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I'm not a member of the gay community.
That's basically all you'd have to do. And it's okay, I wish they would just have not used that phrase or that word and said minority, just said of the melders or something. Don't make it that
didn't
obvious.
They at some point refer to them as melders?
Well, then just call them that. We'll understand.
You are one of the melders. You are one of the homo. Just substitute the word. I know, just get it out there.
Well, dramatically, I did enjoy Jolene Blaylock's performance. I thought she did a good job.
I really didn't.
Okay, I guess I gotta disagree with you on this one. I liked it. I thought she did a good job. I didn't think she looked constipated like you did.
I got nothing from her performance, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't see anything in her eyes?
No.
I did.
Did not work for me at all. Gotta say.
Maybe I'm just mesmerized by her beauty or something.
I don't know, man.
No.
But
No.
I feel like there's times where she's trying too hard, and this is one of them for
Really?
me. Yeah. It's just how I feel.
Huh.
Playing Vulcan is not easy. Leonard Nimoy made it look easy, but it's not. And I think she was hitting the wall,
I think in some instances I can agree with you that she may have gone a little too far, considering, she's a Vulcan. But I'm not going to hold it against her or the episode. It's enjoyable.
I found the stuff with her and all that boring.
All of it.
Most of it, except for the Phlox's wife stuff. But honestly, I was kind of bored with it.
Okay, well, writer's room, how would you fix this?
I think also one of the problems is that we the audience really wasn't given very much lead up to this. He comes, she comes out from behind the curtain in the teaser and she has this thing and all that. And it's I didn't forget about it because I knew this was coming, but it was kind of like old news. And so to bring this up again.
How do you mean?
Her syndrome.
This was old news? Has this been brought up before?
No. The events of the episode that caused it. That was from back in the first season.
Yeah, right.
And so, I don't know. It just... And then her belief system of, well, I can't tell them that I was attacked because it will make their denouncing it okay. And well, you're taking an awfully big moral stance here on something. You were literally attacked.
You're right. Yes.
I think she went to that way too fast.
You're right. I'd forgotten about that part. I was questioning that myself. Why was she taking this gigantic moral stance?
It felt totally
I did make
phoned
it,
in.
There was no
motive.
There was no motive for it.
No.
We'd never heard her thoughts on this before.
Right.
Maybe we had in that episode and I don't remember, but she was very resistant to them talking about or being negatively associated with this group.
Yeah.
These mind melders. And so much so that she wouldn't tell them that it was forceful.
Right.
That mind meld was forced on her because if they did, it's going to be, you're going to think those are just all criminals and you're not going to want to help them. But we've never seen her talk about these people or associate with them, show any kind of feelings for them outside of that episode. And there wasn't really any of that. The guy that did this to her was a creep and he was a bad guy.
I know that's which makes her defense of it very, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
If maybe she had a a relative or something, like her, like
Well,
uncle
but
or
she
something.
didn't. So
They did this. That was a melder.
Yeah.
maybe,
but
and had died.
yeah,
But
no.
there was nothing. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that does not make. Her defiance of it just it didn't her conviction, right, to defy them didn't hold
And it
any
was from
water.
the get-go.
It didn't. Yeah, she was. Yeah, I was like, what is she standing on? What?
So
what?
it makes the whole episode fall apart for me because it's absolutely hollow.
Okay, it doesn't. I can't call it hollow.
Yeah.
You know, I do like it. I do like it. So what would that work in our writers' room?
Yeah,
Giving her some
sure. I mean,
kind of-
that would help. But honestly, I just think they needed to dial the whole thing back. It was just too obvious.
I mean, we're talking about like not just restructuring, not just changing a few words here and there, but actually restructuring the dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, look at TNG's The Outcast. It's so in your face and so blatant. It takes you right on out of it.
Yeah.
And
she's sick, and sick people want to get well. Sorry.
Well, so it was just, I don't know. I mean, it would be basically a ground up, I think, redo.
Well, do you think that having an HIV/AIDS allegory in that year was even a good idea? Because it was pretty much out of the news cycle at that point. I mean, not saying it wasn't, people still weren't afflicted, but it was kind of a 90s paranoia. You know, by the time in the early 2000s.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong about this, but that's how I remember it.
Maybe it did feel also a little late to the party. You know?
Yeah, that's what I was insinuating.
Yeah. Honestly, I was really kind of just put off by it.
I can sense that. Usually I can bounce something off of you and I can get you to respond, but I'm hitting a brick wall
Well,
here.
if she, her motives were unfounded to me, the Vulcans reacting that way, I think you could argue it one way or the other, why they would be this way or why they wouldn't be. If they decided to go why they would be this way, I mean, I can accept that. But, if you're going to do this, like as much as they committed to what it obviously is, then go even further. Have the Vulcans say, you're disgusting. What kind of dirty people do that? I mean, they say that like, oh, this is a form of intimacy that we don't condone. And
they're very academic about it. Yeah.
Screw academics. Like, get down and dirty, because that's what Philadelphia did.
Mm-hmm.
It really made people face their ugliness, but in order to do that, they had to be really ugly, And so these guys just being academic jerks, like just seriously go for it, and have them say, you're a tainted person. No one will ever want to be your friend, or, whatever. Just keep going. Go for it. Yeah. Give Archer a real reason to be pissed off, and go banging on that door. And have, for God's sakes, unshackle that man's hands. Let him get dirty, Let him go. Let him bang that door down, kick that door in. I'm not leaving till you talk to me, and someone comes to your grab. Don't you dare touch me, boy. I will drop you, whatever. Bring it home. I feel like as obvious they were trying to be with it, they didn't really go for it. And oddly enough, and then of course, then you have the sympathizer that's part of the thing, because part of the panel, because he also has it.
He's part of the minority.
He's part of the minority,
right.
And he's loud and proud and all of that. Like, oh, okay.
We do not feel ashamed for what we do.
Yeah. He could be like, go a different way. Have him be like, hey, look, I'm one of these people too. I didn't ask to be born this way, but I am. It really sucks. And I hate seeing people torn down for it, but I really don't want my name dragged through the mud. Which he kind of says, but again, be more obvious about it. Why does he have to be so noble? Have him just be like,
be selfish.
Yeah, maybe not selfish, but somewhere in the middle. Be like, I'm here, but I'm really feeling conflicted. Just, you never saw me. It never happened. Like, I don't have the syndrome, but I can do it. But just, and again, here's these Vulcan guys. To have that, I could understand if you want to make Vulcans this way, have them be very judgmental of those that perform the mind melds and then get the syndrome. But the guy that was on their panel, you know, he had the ability to meld. He had that switch flipped, but he didn't have the syndrome because he doesn't act. I'm assuming he does not do it, you know? So Vulcans being what they are, no matter how much you want to backdate these Vulcans, they are not so illogical that they couldn't say, you can't possibly help the way you're born. As long as you don't try to mind meld, you're fine. But if you do, then you're dirty, you know? So that doesn't even fit. I think that also really rubs me the wrong way. Judging them for the action is one thing, but for someone just because they're born that way, Vulcans are smarter than that. That sort of prejudice is like beyond them. Spock would say, it makes no logic to judge someone for the way they're born. They have no control over that.
Well, is it not possible that these Vulcans from a few hundred years ago could have a prejudice? That's not possible at all.
The Vulcans,
their logic is not the logic that, right? Aren't they? They're not following the teachings of, is it Sirach?
Sirach. They're still logical people. It doesn't make any sense. That to judge someone for an affliction they were born with, that makes no sense. It just doesn't. The action, again, you know, the mind melding. That's.
I don't think they're qualifying it like that, where it's an affliction you're born with.
No, they did. They have that. They said it's
do they say that?
It's an aberration, and you know they're all freaks.
Well, no.
Know?
Did they say like it's an aberration that they're born with, or that they just
they said that.
develop or something? Like
no,
that?
They said that it was something you're born with. They talked about in the scene. That's in the scene where T'Pol and Phlox are brought in, and they're quasi-interrogated before they finally give up what they're doing.
I agree with you, but let me just add the wrinkle that I think this shows that these Vulcans are not like the Vulcans. Possibly, this is the case. They're not like the Vulcans from Spock's era,
right? Because
they are capable of prejudice. Their logic is flawed. Like they've shown that. These Vulcans are not the same as the ones we see in the TNG TOS era.
I get that. It just
okay. Yes, I do. My mind does go there and think, why would their logic permit this? Yes, I see it, but I'm trying to give the episode a little bit of slack here.
I can't.
Okay, that's fair. Man, I'm really curious to see what you're going to grade this, because you're really displeased right now.
I don't know what to say. It's not like it was.
Did you find anything redeeming about it? Anything about
the Phlox stuff?
Okay, well, about the A plot. Anything at all?
The A plot?
Anything that Jolene Blaylock did or said, or
nothing that she did. Really,
none of the scenes she was in.
No, I really found her to be way too wooden. Way too wooden.
Wait a minute. Wait, hold on. You just said she went too far, and now you're saying she's too wooden?
What do you mean I said she went too far?
You said she pushed it too far. Maybe I'm phrasing it differently.
Well, I'm referring to her portrayal of angstiness. It just
she pushed that too far.
Well, yeah.
But then she.
I think when I said too far, I think I was talking about specifically her belief that she shouldn't. She shouldn't explain how it happened because it doesn't matter. All that matters is that she has it. I think that's what I was referring to. When I said that.
I guess I inferred that as her performance, but you
it's
called
both. The character's motivations I found to be out of left field and unearned.
Yeah.
And her performance was, when I say wooden, I mean her trying to portray holding back emotion. When she does that, it's sometimes she hits it and sometimes she doesn't. And I don't feel like she hit it.
Where has she hit it? Can you give me an example?
Oh gosh.
In the 7th?
Sure, in the 7th. I mean, she's definitely riding that line of how she plays
becoming constipated.
Yes, constipation. I think she was much better in Carbon Creek, where she was trying to be the good Vulcan, but she couldn't help but be swayed by the humanness of where she was. So it played far more naturally, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it. I'm sorry. I hate to knock her, but I did not care for her performance in this. And like I said, Vulcan is hard to do, just like playing robot is hard to do. And You know, like when Nimoy did it, you could always he just was able to always find that line and just sit on top of it. And I don't know. It's
what if this episode, what if we threw the A plot in the trash?
all right.
Made it about the B plot
Yeah.
and rename it. Call it like I don't know.
2 boys and a girl.
2 boys, a girl, and a pizza place.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Could that episode be made and work? Could it be
as the A plot?
Sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Is there enough material there, or?
Oh, I think so. I think I think that you could have mined some stuff with. I mean, I like what they did where he goes to the gym and he talks to Malcolm. And Malcolm's like, "Hey, do it."
Yeah, he's all in it.
He doesn't care. Have him go to the captain and go, "Captain, I think she's trying this."
What do you think,
It's all in your head. Get out of here. What do you want to get pregnant again? Get out of here. There was some stuff to be mined there. He could have even said something to DePaul and said, I need like a clear point of view here. Maybe you're the one I should talk to. Mm-hmm. And she could say, well, just remember, not all cultures are like yours. So are you saying I should do it? I didn't say that. I'm just saying they're different. So you're saying I shouldn't do it. I didn't say that. I'm just saying.
They like to use Trip in these kind of scenarios.
It's because his personality just makes it far more interesting.
He's got that kind of good old boy charm, I guess.
Yeah, and when
even when he's like, kind of dumb, you can't fault him.
And when he gets all shy and red-faced, you buy it immediately.
I mean, there is a scene where Phlox's wife is rubbing her leg on him. Yeah. And it's like out of like a like a soap opera or something like that. She's not
so blatant.
Yeah, she's not trying to hide it at all. And he's like, okay. He's trying to get Hoshi to stay, because they were eating lunch, and she comes in, hey, stay, hang out for a while. Oh, I gotta go. Sorry, bye. Yeah. I can't believe they went there.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. Is she found nothing wrong in what she was doing. Mm-hmm. Because for their culture there wasn't. It was perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. But the clash of cultures. And he wasn't trying to be judgmental. He was just.
Well, he was though.
I wouldn't say judgmental. He's
being cautious.
Yeah, and he was like, but Phlox is my friend.
It's like, I don't mess around with another guy's wife. Yeah, that's kind of how it was brought up.
Yeah.
So you see, we're both entering into the territory of taboo.
Mm-hmm.
So. Would we have felt... No, I don't think any of us would have felt... Well, by any of us, I mean both of us, would have felt bad if Trip slept with Phlox's wife. Phlox was encouraging
once he was given the encouragement? Yeah. No. That almost... I feel like they maybe should have done that because it would have been something different.
It seems like that's what they were trying to message us, was that because, this... T'Pol is being condemned.
Right.
For her taboo, and then, so wouldn't it make sense to balance that out by having him? Oh, okay. Well, then it's all okay then. Oh, it's different culture, but hey, they don't. Hey, all right, sure. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
But they didn't. So, maybe that would have been a bridge too far.
It might have been.
Okay,
but it would have been an interesting way to go.
Okay, so you want to grade this episode?
Sure. I'm going to give it a B-.
Ooh, that's a bit higher than I thought. I thought you were going to go into C range territory.
It's not technically bad. It's just way too on the nose, way too obvious, and a lot of things aren't earned. But, I mean, there's is it technically bad? No, other than like really motivation's not quite adding up. But yeah, if it wasn't for the Phlox subplot, I would have definitely been in C territory. That helps the episode as a whole.
You're right, but I did enjoy this episode a little bit more than you did, much more than you did, although I agree with you, it has problems. So I'm going to give it a B+.
Okay.
I think it's good, but a little obvious.
Yeah.
And I think most people listening to us would probably agree with that.
I would think so.
I would think so. Did you have any trivia for me?
I had some ideas. Let's see. First, I'll ask you, what is Dr. Phlox's wife's name?
This is one of my questions for you. Feasel.
Okay. What is the name of the lead doctor that is part of this, panel of people?
The Vulcans, you mean?
Yeah. The one from the TNG
First
episode,
Contact?
First Contact.
Ooh. Dr. Schnockenflocken.
Dr. Orat.
Orats. That sounds like a bad guy.
And what is the name of the syndrome that she has?
Oh, it's Pinar.
Okay.
Rhymes with Canar.
I'm having a canar with Damar.
Did you have any awards?
No, not. I can't think of one. No.
Well, I don't have many other than, of course, now that you mention, now that you mention, oh, wait a minute. Does she not deserve the Trip Tucker Award for petulance?
Who?
Is it Paul?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
There we go with that constipation again. she wasn't even petulant.
Okay. Well, I can at least award her a Shatner Award for Best Dramatic Performance, I think, for her constipation, at least from your point of view. I think she gave a pretty good performance, but yeah, I can see your point.
Maybe we have an award here, a new one.
Okay.
So I found her performance I don't feel like she does angst very well. It's just not a strength. So I can think of two Star Trek actors that stand out. So Patrick Stewart cannot do action. So we have that. And I feel like Jonathan Frakes, think about the episode where he's crazy, where he goes, I'll find him.
I may be surrounded by insanity, but
I'm not insane. That's so I don't know what you would call that.
Overacting? I mean,
he was overacting. But what about?
Isn't that the essence of the Shatner Award? I mean,
that's different though. That's more like convicted over. So I think Frakes was out of his acting depth with that.
Okay,
but with Patrick Stewart, the man just has no business doing physical.
Out of their wheelhouse.
Yes.
Okay, so
it's
that's what
just not
about.
A skill.
So out of the wheelhouse award? No.
Let's see. Yeah, the Picard Award or the Stewart Award for
Stewart.
Stewart Award for Shakespeare.
Shakespeare.
Can we
something
put Shakespearean?
Well, the reason why you're trying to dub it with that is because he does action, but he can't. He's too stiff.
He tries.
He's too stiff.
He wants to.
Yeah.
He's way too stiff.
How about the Tank Top Award? Because, he wears a tank top, but he's trying to be an action
First
man.
Contact?
Yeah.
Or we could call it the Patrick Stewart Man of Action Award.
Man of Action. Okay.
And it's not the Picard. It's got to be the Patrick Stewart
Man of Action.
Man of Action Award for acting out of your depth.
Acting out of your wheelhouse.
Acting out of your wheelhouse.
Okay. Yeah, I like that one.
All right.
Okay. Well, I did have a few other things I'd like to highlight, and that comes in the form of best lines.
All right.
Some of them is the sexual innuendo from Feasel and Trip here. The first scene,
put the thick end into the hole.
Stick the thick end into the slot. And he's like,
and the stream will be initiated.
Okay. You're like, okay. And then at the end of the episode, I'm gonna have to go check on the warp engines. The plasma is running a little hot. I know how it feels. I was like, whoa, nice. And they both know. Phlox and Feasel both have a good laugh over how uncomfortable they made him.
At the end, that was great. They're all humans, whatever.
Oh, and another great line, champing at the bit,
right.
Which I'd like to thank good old Scott Bakula for pronouncing the word wrong. If you pay attention, in the beginning of the episode, somewhere maybe the first or second scene, he's sitting down to have dinner with T'Pol, and he's trying to say chomping at the bit. He said, "Oh, I bet you're chomping at the bit" to such and such, but he ends up saying champing at the bit.
And I pointed out to you that even in his Quantum Leap days, instead of saying "or," he would say "are."
Okay.
And so I wondered if it was a pronunciation thing on his part. He would say, we could do this. R, this guy could do this. And it always caught my attention.
Well, you think, like, in this case, they would have asked, like, hey, can you do another take? And, like, Scott, can you give us another one?
He must have felt perfectly fine with it.
Yeah, but it's clearly the wrong word. Just because
I don't know,
I had
man.
you rewind it. I was like, what is this? Did he say champing? I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Well, we did hear from a few of our listeners, all two of them. We did hear from this week. Okay, well, I forgot. This actually does concern another segment I thought that we could add to the podcast, which would be listener discussion questions. Because Sebastian and I think Marissa, maybe it wasn't a question she asked, or maybe that's Sebastian. I'm not really sure. But I think, Marissa is the one that's submitted a question for us, which we're going to get to. But submit a question about a particular episode or topic. Preferably the episode I think we're about to cover would be nice.
Right.
And we can bring it up and talk about it. I think that would be fun. If you really something you'd like to ask us, and we'll bring it up during the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Sebastian wrote about Stigma. It's a story about consent and shame and how to deal with it. Strangely enough, all characters lack the empathy to overcome their own limitations. T'Pol doesn't give consent that other people learn about her having been abused by a mind meld. I find it very uncomfortable to see how Archer and Phlox impatiently put pressure on T'Pol. In the end, it was that Vulcan doctor to tell everyone T'Pol had been abused. I would have liked it much better if they had listened to T'Pol's concerns and emphatically supported her so that T'Pol would finally overcome her shame and come to her own conviction. Yes, I do want to speak openly about this myself to make it easier for others in the future. That would have been so powerful. Same lack of empathy with the B-plot. Feasel did not stop getting close to Trip, although he obviously did not consent. Why didn't they just talk directly to each other about what's going on? Rating, not rewatchable. So he didn't really care for it.
Well, I was just thinking, maybe the episode should have focused more on T'Pol than focusing on talking about her, because, and you agreed with this, her motivations lack a foundation. So what if, okay, I'm going to step back into that writing room for a second. What if she comes out from sick bay and says, hey, or he says, you have this thing, it's degenerative, blah, blah, blah. And she could be the Vulcan version of pissed off, because she had this thing done to her. So she could be the pushy one. Hey, I need you to go down there and talk to these Vulcans. Don't tell them it's me because, I still have my Vulcanness and they'll kick my ass out. But she could be the pushy one. And then when they show up to question her and Phlox, like they all know, everyone knows that they know. It's just who's going to break it first. And have her say, what right do you have to question my my healing, my medical treatment? I didn't submit to this. And they could say, oh, well, we just assumed. No, I was attacked. But what difference does it make? I have this thing. And they could say, well, that changes everything. We're going to give you this. And she could be okay with it for a minute. But then let's say in a reworked episode, okay, this sounds dramatic, but let's say in some reworked episode, maybe they're not even at the same conference they were at. Let's say they specifically went somewhere where they thought the people would have the answers to this, because it is very rare. And have them go to the AIDS ward, and she could walk in there because let's say she needs to see one of these doctors. And this AIDS ward is off in the back because these are the outcasts. And she'd realize that she was given, maybe not a cure, but given a heads up, a step towards being cured. And she could say, hey, you buddy, did you get your T90 shot? No. What T90 shot? And she could realize they're being denied it. And then she could take a moral stand because now let's say she's even cured, even though I know that comes up later in the series. I know everybody. Then she could take a stance saying, how could you not give this to them? Mm-hmm. That what you are a Vulcan. Is it logical to withhold a something and challenge their Vulcanness and have them challenge their own logic? Mm-hmm. Then you got an episode. Then it's more fun. But then there at least something's earned. And I realize an AIDS ward might be a little strong, but you got to drive it home. And if you're gonna do something obvious, then
it's a minority ward.
It's a minority ward. Yeah, it's off in the back. Well, where do you think it is? Well, of course, it's in the back. Of course, it is.
We have to put something back there.
Yeah.
That's what they would say.
When's the last time you've been down there? Oh, ages. We don't really go down there. We don't like to touch.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. No. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so I like that though. I think that's much better. So
the Pinar ward.
The Pinar ward. So Marissa did write in. She did send us a drink recipe, which we haven't been able to make yet, but thank you, Marissa. So she writes in, hey guys, I've got some trivia for you for Stigma. Hopefully you guys haven't recorded it yet, and we'll make it in. She did just get it in the nick of time. I only have a couple for this one, but I have a discussion question for you as well. So here's the trivia. Where was the interspecies conference held?
At Penthara 4.
Penthara 4. Yeah, I don't know.
No.
Okay, so second question. Okay. What is the disease that is similar to Pinar on Denobula?
Oh, damn.
Ooh.
That's a good question.
Yeah, I didn't think about that one. I thought this was going to be what is the disease. That's too easy, though.
Yeah. Crap. I know that he compared it to...
he did.
I don't remember at all.
Okay, so what's the answer to number one? Denketi 3.
That one sticks in the brain.
Yeah, that one. It's not fun when they give planet names numbers. Number 2, thymic sclerosis.
Thymic sclerosis.
Okay. So here's the discussion question from Marissa. As we all know, Delobulans have 3 husbands per wife and 3 wives per husband. Why is it that when Phlox's wife Fazal is introduced, she uses Phlox's last name? What determines her last name, and why is it Phlox's since she is his second wife and vice versa? That's a good question. Well, do they actually refer?
Does he have a first name?
They just call him Phlox all the time.
Does he say at some point it's like unpronounceable or something? I feel like maybe that happened in the pilot.
Well, that's... I just remember someone referring to her as, oh yeah, Mrs. Phlox.
Yeah, but that was a human convention. And I'd be willing to wager that the Denobulans do not have anything for that. Mm-hmm. And that he was just calling her Mrs. Phlox and they just kind of...
Because they didn't know what to call her.
Yeah, so. Just like with...
he doesn't know her by...
With Bajorans.
Right.
When they mix up... Because Bajorans say their name backwards. Yeah. They mostly will accept it. Other people will point it out. But, it's just a misunderstanding. And, an enlightened person would just go, forget it. Or I know what you meant. No offense taken. Except Ro. He's got to throw a little fit. Others completely allow for the bastardization of their name. I do not.
Well,
it's Ro.
Okay.
Okay, I got it.
It's a very good impression.
Yeah.
Well, to answer her question, I would think that they don't do anything like that. It sounds like, I would guess that
she doesn't refer to herself as Mrs. Phlox.
No, I don't think they take their last names.
I'd be, like I said, I don't think they would. It's probably,
I don't think so.
Their culture just doesn't. The fact that he's only known by Phlox and all that, I just don't think it's a thing.
It's a good question. I just, unless there's something else in the episode that they said that I missed.
I know what someone would say. They would say, well, how do you know that they're married or something like that? Well, I bring back to you the episode from TNG. Is it Matter of Honor? When that one guy, crap. Who does Wesley think he knows from Coming of Age?
Oh, what's Morton or something?
Mordock. He thinks it's Mordock. And he goes, oh, well, that's understandable. You would think that. We're from the same genome, so naturally we look alike. How do you tell each other apart?
We just do.
So just like with them, that's just their culture. It doesn't mean anything. He's got one name and he knows he looks just like this guy, but he's like, yeah, whatever. We look the same. Big deal. Let's move on. Yeah. That's fine.
I wonder why they did do that. They just got the same actor back. And
said, that's interesting.
I'm somebody else. Why did they do that?
Why did they do that? They could have hired another
They could have got
actor.
another guy and painted in blue. Like,
And if you have that guy, just make it Mordok.
unless that guy was did such a bang up job as a.
He was fine, but just
What is he?
why make him
what's his
not
species? I don't
Mordok
remember.
is the question. Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, why do that? It's kind of weird.
Why just have a Mordok and he's doing a trip from the academy to try being on the show? Why would that have been a
Maybe
problem?
that guy was like, friends of so and so, and they're like, well, let's have him back, but we can't have him play the same character. Well, he's
Then have him play a different alien. Like if you're going to literally have the same actor in the same makeup, one season away,
yeah.
just. But at the same time, it's also kind of cute.
But
It's
we accept it though.
yeah.
It's not a problem.
If they were going to do this, you know how James Bond, all those movies, a different actor plays Felix Leiter, and it's always a thing.
Oh yes.
So they should have had. God bless America. What was the name of his species? Have
The Blue Fellows.
the Blue Fellows have one show up every season. And it always is the same actor, and it's never Mordok. Hey, Mordok! No, it's not me. Oh, you must be the other guy from season 2.
His name was
that's not me either.
He was Mordok in the first season,
And this is
Here,
Mordan?
He was Mendon.
Mendon. Ensign Mendon.
I am not
That's right.
Mordok. I am Mendon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then in the next one, it should have been, Mirok.
Nirok. I'm not Mendon. I am Nirok.
Have you met my buddies? And just have that
Are
be
you sure you're not related?
a running gag. Are you playing a trip? Like, you could have him sitting in 10 Forward in, like, season 7.
And then finally, it's actually
have Guinan go, hey, are you really the same dude like the whole time? He'd be like, yeah, don't tell me.
Yeah, don't tell him.
She'd be like, no, that was great. That's a long story, man. I totally dig it.
That would have been great.
That would have been so funny. It was so different.
That's a Seinfeld joke.
And he would just
They
be
never would
like,
have done that.
he would say, the truth is, we all do look alike. So I just decided to have fun with it. Was that funny? Yes, it was. Don't tell anyone. That'd be great.
Okay, so thanks for that discussion question. It was interesting. It's not what I expected.
Yeah.
I thought it would be something from the A plot. Okay, but what we didn't tell Marissa was that we have her number, and we were going to text her during the podcast, get a little conversation going. But
Sure. See if she wanted to suggest a trivia question or something.
So what we're going to do is we're actually going to call her right now. We're
Right
going
now,
to put
live.
her live on the air. She doesn't know this is happening.
Nope.
She may or may not answer the phone. So,
And if she doesn't answer the phone, this is staying in the episode just like this.
so what we're going to do, this is pretty low tech. We're going to put it on my phone, on speakerphone, next to my mic. So
it's not going to sound like us if she answers.
Justin may have to talk a little bit louder, but it should work.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Here we
I
go.
hope she answers.
Here we go.
The suspense is terrible. Hope it'll last. I feel like we're on the Tonight Show. Where
I
they
know.
do this. Pick up. She's like, why is he calling me? Creep. She's probably eating dinner.
Yeah, probably.
Wow,
It's a
she
lot
didn't
of
even
rings.
drop the call. She won't even answer it.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice messaging system. Is not available. At the tone, please record your message.
Hello, you're on the air. You're listening to From There to Here. Hey, so we thought we'd give you a call to bring you on the podcast, but you must be busy. Sorry. Anything you want to say, Justin?
Just if you get this message, call us back right away. We'll stay on the line for a minute.
Right away. All right. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, I think you should text her right now and say, hey, call us back. We're live. I'm sure that came out of the blue. She probably thought you butt dialed her or something. Well, Marissa, we're sorry you didn't answer. We'll try again. Hopefully you answer next time.
All right. So what's coming up next?
Ceasefire.
I don't remember.
Okay. If memory serves, it has Alien Nation guy, Gary Graham, back. And I think it's like, I think he is there on a like a peace mission or something, and he doesn't want to accept help from the Enterprise crew, but I'm pretty sure it's got him. Whether or not it's about Vulcans, I'm not sure, but pretty sure that's the one with him, where they go to like a battle zone for some reason.
Okay, it's not.
And he's
not ringing any
Archer
bells.
earns some of his respect. I believe that's when a churn is made where he starts to appreciate Archer and company.
Okay, well, if you'd like to write us an email, you can reach us at podcastnx01@gmail.com. You can leave a comment on Apple Podcasts or give us a rating. Also, please, if you'd like to ask us a question about the episode, submit that.
Or give us just a topic to talk about.
Yeah, a discussion question about that. Please submit that. We'd love to bring it up.
Like if it were this episode, for example, it would, if you wanted to say, what are your thoughts on polygamy and things like that, like just something to get us going.
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
All right, I'll see you in the next one.
All right.